Alrighty. We should be live now. So, yep, everything is launching up. Stream is going. Very good, very good. Bring this up on my phone just so I have a live view there. And we'll start chilling. Because why not? Make sure chat's working. Big boom. Yeah, okay, chat seems to be working. So, no one's here yet, unsurprisingly. I think we just started, so we are waiting for the live to start, of course, which won't be for like another hour. So we're just going to be chilling here, playing games until this starts up. I was thinking of what game to play. Definitely a few different options. We have, maybe we could do like start an Oblivion playthrough. We could maybe play a bit of Factorio or something. But whatever we want to play, not exactly sure yet. Until we get more people in, maybe I won't start playing, or at least give it a minute, just to see how things are going. If once we get some viewers going, and then we'll start playing a game. If anyone is here, make sure to drop a message in the chat just so I can see any new viewers coming in. Remember to stay hydrated, everybody. At least where I live, it's getting pretty hot. It was like 95 yesterday. It was very, very uncomfortable. It'll take a few days for me to get adjusted to that heat, but what does that matter? Why are we talking about the weather? That's not interesting. Let me tone this lighting down just a little bit, make that a little less harsh. I think that looks better. Still working on my streaming setup. Obviously. So if you have any points, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Not that I have a crazy setup. I've just got a ring light over here, and I've got my lamps on my shelf turned on, which you can't see, but they're adding a little bit of extra light. And with that, let's we'll probably just boot up a game, start playing. Looks like we have a viewer or two. If you guys are here and you want to, make sure to drop a message in chat. We can say hey. But yeah, we're going to be waiting just a little bit until the preview starts, which is going to be at 7 o'clock my time. So 55 minutes. So yeah, why don't we just hop into I like Factorio. I haven't played it in a while. Why don't we play some Factorio? Factorio. Open that up. Start a new world. Pretty chill game. Good way for us to just kill some time until the reveal stream starts. In which case we will jump over probably just a couple minutes beforehand, and we'll see all the new reveals. And before then, we'll discuss what we're thinking is going to be happening with the viewers. What you guys think are going to get revealed. That new Tyranid terrain is looking pretty interesting. I did have a world going, but I haven't played it in a few months, so we'll just start a new one. Yeah, I don't see why not. New game. Yeah, Space Age. I ain't gonna lie, I'm pretty baby when it comes to Factorio. I tend to like maximum or density. Of course, with Space Age, things are a little different. But we're just gonna crank this stuff up to the max because I prefer just having giant ore deposits. I think it's just scouting for new ore deposits can be kind of boring. So the less I have to do that, the better, in my opinion. So let's just set all this to max. And for the other planets, it's not that much of a difference, I can't imagine. But who cares? I'll just do it. So if any of you guys are in chat right now, what do you guys think we're going to see? Obviously, there's that new Tyranid-looking piece of terrain. Reminds me of some stuff from 4th edition. Yeah, 4th edition, which was Ultramarines versus the first Tyrannic War and all that jazz. There was a couple terrain pieces in that starter set that looked a lot like what we saw on the what's the word I'm looking for on the starter set. There was definitely like a sort of spawning node from there. I believe they said Kill Team's going to be at the event, So maybe Tyranids are finally getting a bespoke kill team. That'd be cool because obviously we do have Gene Stealer cults, but Gene Stealer cults. Yeah. Honestly, I think a Nid kill team is very much in the discussion. Some bespoke Tyranids. Maybe Tyranid warriors could get an update. Not that I think the Tyranid warriors look bad, but I think they could use an update. Maybe look a little bit more modern. And with that piece of terrain, we're seeing something Tyranids, obviously because that's a Tyranid like spawning pit, if you will. A big automaton for T-Suns? Yeah, I would love that, honestly. Because, yeah, T-Suns, they're next on... Well, we have, like, the 3 Chaos God factions, and they're next on the docket. I would love to see a new... some big stompy automata for the Thousand Suns. That sounds awesome, actually. I hadn't even thought of that. And beyond that... since we're talking Tyranids for Kill Team... one thing I thought maybe could be interesting. Well, I mentioned like Tyranid warriors getting an update. Maybe they could make it like Shrikes, since they seem like something that should have been in the first wave of releases but weren't. I think Shrikes would be a really cool kill team, maybe a hybrid kit. And then their opponents maybe could be like Assault Terminators, since they're waiting for their update. I know Terminators and Kill Team would be crazy, but maybe like it would be a 3 operative Kill Team with like 17 wounds a piece, something like that. Personally, I just want Assault Terminators to get the update because I love Terminators. I think that's pretty obvious. Oh yeah, Gargoyles. Gargoyles, they're from, I want to say 5th edition. I'll pull it up on the other screen before we start mining. Let me go. Tyranid minis. Let me make sure I have chat pulled up. Put this over here. Yeah, let's see. Gargoyles. 4th edition, maybe? No, that's when the Sky Slashers came out. Gargoyles were, 5th edition, 2010. They definitely need an update. They're looking pretty static compared to the new Hormagaunts and Termagants. And it could be kind of cool to see Gargoyles get the special weapons that the Termagants got. And even just letting them use things like Spine Fists, I think would be cool. Just in general. What I use to check for my release date, I use this for all my videos. Lexicanum, it's a Warhammer wiki site. They have a whole miniatures portal that has pages for all the factions, and they have them split up into their release years and editions they came out in. So that's what I use mainly. It's really useful. It's helped me discover a bunch of like really niche old miniatures that I really like. Lexicanum's great. It's a lot less intensive, like resource-wise, than the Fandom wiki, because Fandom is a horrible website that is so bloated it's insane. While I talk, let's do the intro for Factorio. See how far we can get. I should be able to get to green science pretty quickly. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry. Oh wait, never mind. We are going. No. This isn't the worst, actually. Normally I don't like my resource piles to be touching, but whatever. Yeah, no. I use the Fandom wiki a lot as well. They tend to have more image resources than I've kind of forgot all my keybinds. Let's make ourselves. Yeah, Factorio is a super fun game. I've clocked a lot of hours into it. Let's go red, just bright red. And it's something that's easy to just sort of play for a little bit while we wait for the reveals. Mainly because I want to get better at live streaming. It seems something that I think I would enjoy doing. I tend to like entertaining and conversation a lot, so I wouldn't mind doing more live streams, personally. Let's get some stone coal and some iron, and we can get started on the coal snake. If you like Warhammer, I wouldn't be surprised if you like this game. A huge part of this game is killing ginormous bugs, so that fits. Where's my inventory? There we go. Burner mining drill. Right. Direct feed into you. Boom, boom. What is it? I don't remember. Is it Alt, I think? No, that's my science tab. There we no. Wait, what is my... Hold on. We got to check settings. So what else do you guys think we might see in the release wave? Obviously, there's going to be the new terrain set for Kill Team. I think they said Old World. I don't know if there's any Old World players here, but I always like to see those old models come back. I'd consider myself a bit of like a model historian, so I always like seeing old niche models sort of come back. You know what? I don't need... Who needs shortcuts? Put this in there. But we've pretty much covered most of 40k stuff because, well, no, we haven't. So T-Suns, there's a rumor they're getting a big automata, which I think would be awesome. I love automata, and I want to see more of them in 40k. I was talking to a friend of mine at the store that I go to for Warhammer, and I was telling him I would never collect AdMech because the only unit I like from them is Castellan robots. So if they got more... I'm really rusty. If they got more automata, I would definitely consider collecting them because I think the automata look so cool. I love the thalat. What are they? They're these bug-looking constructs from Heresy that I think are just really, really cool. So maybe with the next AdMech release wave, we'll see more automata. I know some of the automata, like the Ursarax, those ones with the jump packs and the big claws, they are still around, like, lore-wise, but they're really only used by, like, advanced... why can't I... Where's my cold burner? There it is. Yeah, that's right. They're only used by, like, administratum forces, like elite forces. They're only sanctioned for use there, nowhere else. Yeah, it would be nice. I've been looking at if AdMech weren't so expensive, it would be great. Again, I love big chunky units. I like Terminators. I like Mega Knobs. I like Chaos Terminators. I like units like that, and AdMech doesn't really have that. It's a similar reason why I wouldn't really collect Sisters. Well, they have the Paragon suits. They're not my absolute favorite, like design-wise, and just overall like archetype-wise. So I'd like to see AdMech get something bulkier, Yeah, just more things like the Castellan. Give us the, I think they're Thalax. There's these bug-looking automata. I can't remember the official name for them. Robots, if you will, that just look really, really cool. Like they have these crazy arms with blades on them and heavy bolters on their back. Like that's more of what I want to see from AdMech, not just more Skitarii and things like that. And maybe that's because the main thing with the AdMech, right? It leans into that almost body horror element with the Skitarii being these weird clockwork soldiers. So, like, I get why so many of their releases are just more weird kinds of Skitarii, which I'm fine with. I think they look cool. But I just wish they had something a little bulkier. Because, like, if you think about it, most armies do. Like, Eldar, for example, they've got the whole Wraith construct subset of their army. Wraith Knights, Wraith Guard, Wraith Blades, Wraith Lord. That's a whole chunky subset of their army, and that's what brings me to that army a lot. I like to use those big stompy units. Alongside super fragile elite ones. I like Fuegan and Fire Dragons jumping out of like a falcon and melting a knight in one round of shooting. But I also like having units that are just super tough to remove. So that's just something I wish AdMech had more of, I think adding some of the automata from Heresy just makes perfect sense once like they move to plastic, because a lot of them are resin, and depending on the age of the kit, it's just awful. A lot of those really early Heresy kits just look really ugly. One that really comes to mind is Gavriel Loken, versus Abaddon, those models are hideous. Really, really ugly. So I'd like to see them get an update. Speaking of Heresy, though I don't think Heresy's going to be at this show. So, we don't have to worry about that. But let me get more iron. I'm really clocked down. I'm just, I'm trying to keep an eye on chat and keep talking, because that's what I need to do if I want to stream. Because I do enjoy streaming. I've only done it a few times, but I think I would fit it pretty well. So maybe I should start doing that more. Oh yeah, no, Loken's model is just a travesty. It really is. Heresy has so many great models, but like a lot of the early word bearers, Loken as well, not word bearers, world eaters. The world eaters, berserkers are really, really ugly. I really enjoy Heresy, so I like looking through all the model ranges, and all the special characters tend to have like these really fun rules. So I like to get familiar with them, and then I'm like, ooh, wow, that's a really ugly model. It's a shame, because there's definitely some good models from the era that model came out in. But that's how it goes really with 40K, with any miniature game, right? There will always be weaker models, like design wise. And sometimes, that's just how it goes. The coolest characters get some of the worst models. I'm trying to think of someone aside from... Oh, Gabriel Angelos. That's one of my least favorite models of all time. Oh yeah, Conrad's model is fantastic. All the Primarchs, in my opinion, look pretty great. I have Alfarius. He's not assembled, but he's in that yellow box up on my shelf. Well, Heresy, I think you maybe just like looking at like Beakies and Tactical Marines, because what makes Heresy so fun is like how insane all of the armies get. It's truly crazy what you can do in Heresy, and a lot of it comes down to the customization in Heresy is fantastic. Fulgrim definitely looks insane, but also he's a space snake that's on crack, so I can't say I'm surprised he looks insane. But also, Fulgrim's model, I think, is one of the weaker Primarch models in Heresy. Going back to my point, Heresy is really fun just to see what you can do with units, because so many of the units just have these really weird or really cool combos you can do with them. And if you take a look at, just like Centurions, for example, you have like 20 different sort of upgrades for them called the... I can't remember the name. Consularis. That would be things like Saboteurs or Primus Medicaes that really just open up the game into Insanityville. And with attached characters and things like certain character models, for one, there's Horus Ascended is like, I don't want to say the most powerful ever. Fulgrim's old model. He's definitely, I think, my least favorite of the classic of the Heresy Primarchs. But it's a game where, if you just look at Tactical Marines, it's 20 dudes or 10 dudes with bolters. Nothing special. But when you start to introduce unique faction weaponry, introduce your faction rules, and all of that, it really gets crazy. And each faction has their unique units. All the Space Marines have their own Terminators. Most of them have their own elite infantry units, their own vehicles, stuff like that. And a lot of it is just how insane you can go with it. Because Heresy is almost a snapshot of what 40K used to be. What you can do in Heresy is just absurd. To the point where, you have to come at it with a different point of view. If you go into Heresy trying to be competitive, you will decimate your opponents so badly, it's sad. They will genuinely not want to play with you again. But if you don't go full power gamer on it, it's so fun. Seeing, you fire off a plasma cannon, it scatters and blows up your own infantry is always funny. That's a poor example, but it's just it's a fun game to just go crazy with. Personally, I'm someone who really enjoys wiki diving, and that includes Wikipedia. I wouldn't say the learning curve is that bad. You have to learn the way the attributes in the system work, because it's not just Thank you, Sterling Boss. Much appreciated. Wow. Hey, congratulations. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Congratulations. I'll cheers to that, buddy. Ugh. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Congratulations. Congratulations. Um, but what was I saying? Oh yeah, we're talking heresy, learning curve. It's really not that bad. If you know how to play 40k, you know. Yeah, good night, brothers. If you know how to play 40k, you'll get the basics of all of Games Workshop's games. Everything's measured in inches. Your move and things like that are all listed on your sheet. But things like morale is a lot more in depth because with morale in Heresy, instead of just you can't use stratagems because stratagems don't exist, you have reactions instead. You basically that unit is broken and they start running for the edge of the board. And if they make it to the edge of the board without regrouping, they are lost. They fled the battle. And there's also blast and flamer templates, which is the other big difference. And AP, we'll get into that in a second. With blast and scatter, right, weapons like rocket launchers, plasma cannons, melt-to-blast guns, they don't just roll for their attacks. You have your blast templates, and you target an area, and then you scatter it. And that means it could completely go off target and miss completely. It could hit more models. It could hit a completely different unit. And from there, it's pretty simple. The wounding is slightly different, but you get used to it very quickly. Again, if you know 40k, it'll take maybe a game or two to understand all the rules for Heresy. The core rules, I should say. Because, you have the 18 different legions. You have... If you get into... The Space Marines, very simple as far as Heresy goes. If you get into, like, Mechanicum, you're starting to get a little crazy. If you get into Solar Auxilia, even crazier. Because, you have... Solar Auxilia, basically, their units compose multiple units. So in one force organization slot, you'd have 3 units of riflemen in a command section. And you can get up to insane model counts in Heresy. You could have 500, 600 chaff units. All 600 models of just completely worthless chaff that your enemy has to kill. So it really is just a game where you go crazy. Just go crazy, go stupid, have fun with it. And if you love dreadnoughts, you'll love Heresy, because dreadnoughts are like the single most overpowered thing in Heresy, with the exception of the Acastus Knight Porphyrion. And like, actually, a few of the Automata are like dreadnoughts, but even crazier. Trust me, that, let's do a bit of Warhammer history. So back in 7th edition and before, there was something called infinite demon engines, where any army could summon up demons, right? Didn't matter if you're Imperial. I don't think Tyranids and Tau could do it. Things like Xenos, I don't think could do it. Maybe Orcs, but regardless, what you'd do is you'd summon up a change caster, right? A Herald of Tzeentch, and then that Tzeentch Herald would summon out a bunch of either smaller summoning units or just pink horrors. And each turn you would summon a new summoner, which would summon out more units. And it would just increase to the point where the only limit was how many models you had, which was insane. It was horrible to play against because it would be impossible. Like, you would simply... There would be not enough time in the day to chew through all those models. And it would get to the point where you couldn't even move your units. There would literally be so many demons you just could not move your units because you'd be moving into engagement range. It's not a lot of that level of cheese is gone in Heresy, because Heresy took sort of the best aspects of pre-8th edition and smoothed them out and made them much easier. You have your armor facings, but since everything's an Imperial tank, you're just boxes, right? Rhinos, Land Raiders, Predators, Leman Russes, Baneblades. You don't have any like Eldar fire prisms, for example. Like, you don't have any of that nonsense with what side is which. Heresy is just super fun. Like, it's a game where you just take it and run with it. Find your favorite unit. You can probably make them really deadly. And each legion, if you have a favorite legion out of the original 18, you'll have fun. Because not only do you get to pick if they're loyalist or traitor, you get to use their special characters, you get to use their special rules, which are all pretty unique. There's a classic saying, Kai, that Night Lords will be good when morale is good, and that means never, because honestly, morale has, even in Heresy, not that impactful most of the time. Excluding like pinning tests, but even then, failing morale is really rare. I hope they give Night Lords more of a rule like they have in Heresy, where if they're outnumbering their enemies, they are better, rather than having to battle shock their opponents, because morale just never works. It just doesn't work as an army rule, unless you're like Chaos Knights, and even then, like they're not necessarily just relying on battle shock, excuse me, to do their nonsense. But Heresy, absolutely fantastic. Just before this, I was just before the stream, I was reading through Age of Sigmar stuff on Wapedia. Age of Sigmar, also super fun. That game is just like high speed, high octane action all the time. Really enjoy it. Granted, I've enjoyed pretty much every Games Workshop game I've played. I enjoy Kill Team, even if it's not my favorite game. Really enjoy Age of Sigmar, 40k, obviously. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. A lot of Iron Warrior players I see, if they aren't, a lot of them do have a lot of core Chaos Marines, but a lot of them do use like Mark III Marines from Heresy to build up their Legionaries or their Chosen or whatever it may be. And I think that's always cool. In the rumor engine, actually, we saw the tip of the Pale Spear, which is Alfarius' weapon. I figured that would be the Black Library miniature for this year. Maybe it'll be next year, but I'm holding out hope for like an Alpha Legion kill team. I think that would be awesome. Because, obviously, I'm a huge Alpha Legion fan. They're the army I play in Heresy. Is it alt? No, it's not alt. I cannot remember any of my keybinds in this game. Whatever. We don't need that much to get this started. Get the Coal Snake going. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Tartarus and Cataphracti get an update. I think their models, like their kits are fine, like kit-wise. But yeah, they're looking a little stumpy, especially Cataphracti. Obviously, Cataphracti, just by its nature, looks more squat. But yeah, I'd like them to see them get boosted up in size, for sure. Well, the Tartarus and the Cataphracti, they were made, I think they were like, 2014, 2013? So they're just in a different proportional style than modern Space Marines are. They're a little shorter, they're a bit lankier, and they tend to be a little bit broader for the size that they are. Tartarus, they, in my opinion, aged better just because their legs are naturally longer because they don't have the very stumpy leg armor look. And I would like to see Cataphracti get slightly updated helmets. I really dislike having to paint Cataphracti helmets. I do actually own Cataphracti, even though they're not my favorite Terminators. I would like to see them get updated helmet just slightly, make it a little bigger so it's a little easier to paint. But yeah, those guys, I think they're not in line, but I wouldn't say they're terribly far off from getting an update at some point. Because Terminators are, they're always popular. When are they not going to be popular? They've been a cornerstone of 40k forever. Obviously they had their own gain system, in Space Hulk, which apparently there's rumors Space Hulk might be coming back, which, man, I'm always down with that. More Terminator action. But yeah, no, I think they're definitely in line to get an update at some point. I think it won't be until most stuff is out of resin, but after that, yeah, I'd say Cataphracti, Tartarus getting an update would be good, and would be much appreciated for show. See you later, Peter Robbo. And thank you, Mr. Brendan. Glad to hear you enjoy my videos. I'll make sure to do more on Chaos Space Marines. I love Chaos Space Marines, so anytime I get to talk about them, I'm happy. That's just the way it is, I suppose. Not much more to say about that. Um, but yeah, no, I love Chaos Space Marines. Really, I could sing their praises forever. It's not. It's almost unfair because I mean they were the first or second faction I ever saw. The first faction I saw was my brother's Dark Angels. When I was just 3 years old, little wee kid, I walked into my brother's room and he was painting Azrael, the classic metal Azrael, who I actually have in my closet where I store most of my minis. And I was so locked in. Yeah, I should definitely do a video on Raptors. I'm surprised I haven't. I wouldn't mind. I don't have any Raptors. Wait, no? I thought I actually did a video on Raptors. I did. It was I think it was last year. But then again, I mean, I'm not opposed to talking about the same thing twice. Maybe if I get some more Raptors. I only have 5 of them, so I wouldn't mind bulking that to a big squad. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, any units you guys want me to cover, drop them. I love reading up on pretty much every faction, so even if it's not from a faction I routinely play. Yeah, you know what? I'll do an updated video on Raptors. That shouldn't be. I just did that video on Jump Intercessors, so I'm in the mindset for Jump Pack Space Marines. But yeah, any units you guys want me to cover, drop down in the comments, and I'll take a look. Again, main armies I play: Orcs, Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Eldar, and Guard. But also I have small collections of Leagues of Votann, of Tyranids, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think. Of Leagues of Votann, I already said that. Necrons, I think that's what I meant to say. And I love learning about new factions. So if there's any factions you guys want me to cover, let me know. Yeah, I mean that's definitely a solid way to use them. I don't see why not. Just jump them back there and have them shoot at something that's easy for them to deal with. Yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, I mean, I saw actually. I was just at the store this weekend. I was playing my Guard, but the people next to us on the next table were playing Orcs, or one of them was playing Orcs, and they were using Mordaka. And by like the end of battle round 3, there was like 5 Marines left. I hear it's pretty crazy, but I mean, I'm an Orcs fan, so anytime Orcs are eating good, I'm happy. Yeah, I do wish Devastators were better. Mainly because I really like Devastators, but it's in kind of the same vein where I also wish Heavy Bolters were better, because I think Heavy Bolters are awesome. But it's just one of those things where it seems like it's just not in the works. I know that, in theory land, you could have, them jumping out of a Razorback with like 4 multi-meltas, have them target the Oath of Moment unit, and you would really put the hurt on something, but you could do the same thing with Eradicators pretty much for free. Which is kind of the issue with Devastators. But I love Devastators. And the truth of the matter is, the cooler or more fun you think a unit is, that's the best units to use, because why else would you run it? I'm not a super tournament-minded player, even though I do like to make my units good. I don't think that's out of the question. I just like to run whatever I think's cool. But yeah, Mordaka, definitely pretty crazy. I'm more of a melee Orcs player, but I do enjoy Orc shooting quite a lot. So I'm always glad to see that doing better. Even if, at the moment, I'm in escalation, so I'm not really playing much in the way of Orcs. Though I'm getting a little tired of the escalation, so maybe I'll be back to playing Orcs soon enough. Really choking here. 35 minutes in, and I have no automation done. How insane. In terms of other factions I wouldn't mind covering, I did a video on Howling Banshees. I really like the new Eldar Codex. I think Eldar is pretty fun to play in general. So I'm obviously enjoying that. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you mentioned Legends, and I think that's a great example. Legends is, it's meant for casual play, and a lot of people sort of shun it. But the thing that I don't get is, I'd say 95 to 98% of all Warhammer games are just casual. They're not for money. You're not at a tournament. That's why I like to cover Legends Unit, because I want more people to realize, you don't have to play competitive. It's a rabbit hole I actually fell into personally. I was, went back when I got into Warhammer again back in like 2021, 2020. I look up, Space Marine Tactics. I looked up, Space Marine Tactics. What do I get? Auspex Tactics. He makes good videos. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but that way of thinking, that Auspex, tournament, what's the strongest, it pretty much changed the way I collected, and then I realized I wasn't really enjoying it as much, and then I'm like, oh, that's probably why, because what am I doing? I'm just collecting units I think would be strong, not units I enjoy. Personally, I get what you mean. I don't have the biggest issue. A lot of people I'm not exactly sure why or where this came from, but a lot of people do seem to be bothered that Games Workshop balances the game around competitive play. And I don't necessarily get it, because I don't see much of another way to balance it. But I think a lot of competitive players a lot of casual players play the game too competitively. And I don't think it's the end of the world. I just think it's interesting and slightly sad. I think things like Legends. What's the word I'm looking for? Crusade. Crusade is so fun. But a lot of people don't know how to play it, or they just write it off because it's not LVO, which is a shame, because Crusade is so fun. I'm actually planning on hosting a Crusade in the coming months at my local store, because it just allows you to tap into a lot of really fun stuff. And also, Legends is the perfect place to use, Crusade's the perfect place to use Legends stuff, which I'm always down for, because, well, that's what I like to use. But that's my whole tirade. I wanted to do a video sort of covering my thoughts on it, but then I'm like, well, could I... Because I'm going to be real with you. Let me be 100% real with you. I'm obviously a small YouTuber, so I need to be, reasonable. So I have to be, cognizant of what videos I'm making. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Definitely try and get your friends into Crusade, because every time I've played Crusade, I've just had a blast. Doing that. And you mentioned your casual list getting nerfed, and that definitely does feel bad. But that's definitely one thing that I try and stick with is, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do the same. I like to collect, obviously, factions I enjoy. I don't collect factions I don't like. Or if I do get a faction, for example, I never really considered myself a Tyranids collector, I should say, until Leviathan. And I bought Leviathan, and I've painted up a few of my Tyranids. I agree with the Horde thing. And when it comes to that, I like to see what in an army I do like. And so I just collect factions, and I try and make, one of my favorite things in 40K is like the user-created stuff, right? Not just the bog standard. So I like to make my own stories, for my armies. Do I have any nearby? Not really. I guess actually I do. I actually painted this guy on a video a while ago. It was like 2 years ago now. My Hive Tyrant for my little Hive fleet, and he's extremely dusty because he's been sitting on a shelf. I'm slowly working on getting better storage for my minis. Most of them are in my closet now because there's no airflow in there. I haven't tried the Spec Ops co-op mode for Kill Team, but I mean, it seems fun. It's sort of an interesting throwback because Kill Team actually got its start. That's real. Kill Team got its start many editions ago as a mode where it would be sort of you versus the game master, where you'd have your gang of guys try and infiltrate and deal with enemy NPCs effectively. But 100%. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just make up some ridiculous story. I don't try and be overly quirky with it or anything like that. I just like to make stories. For example, jumping. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. For reference, when I jump in game systems. Yeah, no, that's also cool. You guys saw, I'm sure maybe a few of you did. I did a video painting the Dark Kraken Space Marine a few, like last week or 2 weeks ago. I plan to just start painting up my miscellaneous Space Marines in a bunch of random different colors and just be like, this is some force from the end days where things are going real bad. So a bunch of Space Marines fighting together. Something simple like that. Or for my first Space Marines, which are yellow, I made up some lore about them, being what's the nonsense? What's the word I'm looking for? All the lore for them. I actually did have a Discord, but I think I got locked out of it. I'll have to make a new one. Yeah, I'll do that today or tomorrow. Sometime this week, I'll get a new Discord going. Try and be more active in it. I remember with the last one, it was before Discord allowed you to have multiple things going on, so I had to have one thing for the YouTube channel and another for my personal Discord. So I had to, do that, which means I got locked out because I didn't log in, and I don't even know what happened to that server. But I will make a new one. Dark Krakens are awesome. I plan to do, with the Infernus Marines I'm getting from Combat Patrol next month, I plan to make, do like Exorcists, Angels Resplendent. That's a chapter I want to paint up. Just a lot of variety, And I also think that's a great way to keep yourself from getting burnt out. I don't even know I'm still playing this. This is completely pointless. I really love Factoria, but I'm enjoying talking to you. enjoying talking to you guys a lot. Yeah, Dark Krakens are Salamander's Ultima founding successor chapter. Dark Krakens are really cool. I love their color scheme too. I actually originally planned to paint that guy as a Silver Templar, but I love Terminators, but some of the Terminators really annoy me because they don't have knee pads and they don't have shoulder trim, which just makes it hard to paint things sometimes. For me, at least. I'm weird though. I find I paint better. Like I think I paint way better skin than I paint armor for my orcs. So when I paint flat armor panels, it kind of gets lost on me. But with Chaos Space Marines, they've got all the trim going on and everything. So like that's easy. You just color in the lines. But with normal Space Marines, this really happened to me with like Mark 6. I found, painting Mark 6 to me is just really difficult because I don't have places to put splashes of color, which I like to do. But also, I'm no Duncan Rhodes. I'm definitely not a great painter or anything like that. Though I do think I'm not bad. Hold on, wait. I'm reading. I'm not exactly sure how to quantify it. That's part of the reason I actually organized all my miniatures, Brenton, is because I want to get through all my unpainted minis. I am getting Combat Patrol, but that's 5-6 minis a month. That's not terrible. But I mean, I don't know if you guys can look at that yellow thing on my shelf. It's just full of sprues. Some of them are full of stuff. I've got Votan bikers there, and things that aren't assembled, and it's really getting on my nerves. I really want to get through all of my gray stuff before the year's out. That's just, that's how it goes, though. When I first started, I wish I never gave up on this. I was really good, right? I didn't buy anything until I painted everything else, and then I didn't overindulge, but that's how the story always goes, isn't it? And then you overindulge, and then you end up with a bunch of unpainted miniatures, which is a shame. I don't want to be out of unpainted miniatures. And to answer your question, Baldor, I'm not entirely sure how I would quantify it. I find my best looking stuff is in a similar vein when I'm just jumping into things and just giving it my all with that in mind. That's true. I think I'm probably 50-50 because I've painted all my Chaos Space Marines except for one model. I've painted most of my orcs, except for a lot of my Black Reach orcs. They're still unpainted. I've painted most of my Space Marines. I just have Leviathan and a few odds and ends there that I haven't painted. And then I've got my Tyranids. I've painted most of my Guard, except for my Baneblade, which I need to paint by the end of the month, so that's fun. But I agree with what you said, Baldore. Or Baldor? Baldore? I'm not sure. I generally find my stuff looks at its best when I just go at a new technique. For example, when I painted my orcs, when I really leaned into painting orcs, I found I really enjoy painting the insane musculature that orcs have in a really high contrast way. When I paint my Chaos Space Marines, I just love the contrast method. It's so satisfying just seeing that effect take place. When I paint my Guard, I love just leaning into the fact that Wario is like my favorite character ever. Well, except for SpongeBob, but they're both yellow, funnily enough. Not my favorite color, but yellow's a good color. You know what is my... I would grab it, but it's in my closet, which is where all my lighting is coming from, so I can't really grab it, because it's in a box. I actually built mine as a Bane sword. Bane sword? Yeah, Bane sword. I'm using it in the escalation. Unfortunately, I'm 1-2 in this current phase. Hopefully I go 2-2. Yes, they are Wario-themed. Do I have a representative nearby? I think they're all in my closet. Let me see if I can grab one. Let me see. Ugh. Where's my Guard? Yeah, you know what? This guy's not. I've got one. Ugh. This guy. Yeah, I'm going to paint the Baneblade like Wario's car. I'll pull it up, actually. We're getting close to this stream, so. We did nothing in Factorio. That doesn't matter. Factorio is a good way to just have background noise. I'm going to paint it after the Wario car. Wario car. This is what I'm going to paint my Baneblade like. But yeah, here's one of my Guardsmen. See, they're painted up, yellow, purple. This guy's not fully finished. He was painted really fast for a 60,000 point game. The whole team, the whole store partook in. They were my cultists for my Chaos Space Marines. But yeah, I'm gonna go purple with the silver trim. Paint a mustache on the front. All of my Guard are gonna have W's painted on their shoulder pad for Wario, but this guy doesn't have it because again, speed painted. All my fully painted models are in boxes because I was using them because I'm taking them to the store every weekend to get my games in for the thing. Yeah, when I finish painting my Baneblade and my Chimera, I have to paint that too. I will do I'll do a collection video. Why not? Though I will admit, I've not had a great track record with this with the Guard in this escalation. In Kill Team, I went 2-2, so totally fine with Kazrakin. Space Marine 2 is a great way to test color schemes. I do that when I launch the game up. Went 2-2 in Kill Team with Kazrakin. All right. Went 1-3 in Combat Patrol. That was brutal. Let me tell you what happened in that last Combat Patrol game. So it was me versus Tau. Their newer Combat Patrol. And I did a grand total of 7 wounds and destroyed 1 Toughness 3 model. I should have known something was wrong because I had a Hunter Killer Missile actually do max damage, and the monkey's paw curled. I could not hit anything after that, and my entire army was dead by the end of turn 2. It was heinous. And then here in the 1,000 point tier, I'm 1-2 with pretty abysmal win rate, but I'm having fun with it. That's a pretty cool idea for some world eaters. Yeah, no, that's actually pretty cool. The chaos stuff is great for that. I have Slaves to Darkness for Age of Sigmar. I should do a video painting them because they're really Slaves to Darkness is just like my favorite, like one of my favorite model ranges that Games Workshop sells because they look awesome. And I want more. Yeah, you see, that's the thing. Hunter killers never do damage. The one time it does, I lost the game. That was the worst stomp I've ever had in my modern career of 40k. 100%. Speaking of Chaos Space Marines, though, with the World Eaters, I'm getting the World Eaters Combat Patrol in Combat Patrol, so I'm not sure how I'm going to paint them up. I think I'm going to go with my Kill Team Warband that I made, because I plan to do Shadow Legion, you know, that new detachment for Chaos Demons, and they're going to be like rabies-infected Space Marines, so they're with a lot of Corn Demons. So I'll probably use my World Eaters for that. Working on Valkyries now from Howling Banshees and Scourges. Let me get something fast and killies. Valkyries. Hold on, wait. We're talking like the plane from Imperial Guard, that kind of Valkyrie? Oh, wait, no. Duh, Valkyries. I get it now. That really confused me. But no, that actually sounds like a pretty cool conversion. What unit are you planning to use? Wait. Again, completely out of it. I just read your whole thing again. I get it now. That's a really cool idea for a conversion, though. No, yeah, that's the thing. Hunter killers should miss. If they hit, something's wrong with the universe. There was that on Warhammer Community. There was that meat grinder thing. A couple of guys I talked to about Warhammer were saying maybe that could be some sort of coordinate demon engine, like a siege vehicle. Cyclops? No, not Cyclops. What's it called? I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. It's a guard unit. Siege drill of some kind. Goremongers. Oh yeah, actually, I that's the one thing I think World Eaters could really use is. I would really want World Eaters to get Berserkers on Juggernauts and Red Butchers, of course, because I want more Terminators. But no, they need a unit on Juggernaut. The Lord on Juggernaut feels so out of place, not being able to lead a bunch of dudes on Juggernauts. That's how it goes, right? If a hunter killer does something, you're likely going to pay the price for it. They're so bad. Obviously you take them, because why wouldn't you? But I feel like anytime a hunter killer does something right, it's going to cost your army immensely. With that in mind, but that is funny though. Oh my god! You know what really? Okay, so this is jumping back to the crusade, the escalation I'm in. Did you guys know the Ghost Keel has Deadly Demise D6? What are we doing here? Why does that have Deadly Demise D6? In what world? Oh yeah, it is a bit of a shame that but I guess that's the price you pay, right? You're your own codex, but you lose access to a lot of your generic options, which is a shame. Um, yeah, no, I will be honest. Fighting Tau is not my favorite thing. But yeah, Ghost Keel? Is that? Yeah, you know the one. Deadly Demise D6. In what world? That should be D3. That thing. Okay, let me explain to you why that really, really came to me. Right, mid-board, things aren't going great. I managed to kill the Ghost Keel through all of its nonsense. Detonates Deadly Demise, wipes what little remains of my command guard squad, and does 5 wounds to my Bane Blade. So it just gets absolutely slagged by the Sun Knife, Sun Forge, whatever they're called, battle suits that dropped in behind it in the next movement phase. You probably... I've played against Tau many times. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not trying to insult your army, but Tau can be rather uninteractive in a similar way to Grey Knights. Grey Knights, you just don't fight. One of my first games in 10th edition was against Grey Knights, and there was 2 fight phases and nothing else. And when I say 2 fight phases, I mean 2 fights. One of them was Obliterators versus some standard Purifiers or something. Or no, Chosen versus Purifiers. Obliterators versus Strike Squad. That was all the melee that happened, nothing else. But they beat me on points, because, obviously. With Tau, it can be a little uninteractive. Similar reason I don't enjoy fighting Death Guard. Probably not so much this edition, but like last edition. Death Guard were just really unfun to play against. Because nothing happens, right? That's the thing. Yeah, I was playing Chaos Space Marines against those Grey Knights. And obviously I like my big units of Terminators. So they were just kind of wandering around the board doing nothing, because the Grey Knights weren't going to be able to kill them, so they wouldn't charge them, and obviously I couldn't catch up with them, because they were always jumping off the board. Honestly, I do hope Grey Knights get a big rules rewrite, kind of like Eldar got. I'd like to see them just get redone. I think uppy downy special rules are just not good for the game as an army-wide rule. I don't mind them as a unit rule, like Warp Talons, for example, but, like as an army rule, it's just very annoying. Very, very annoying. It just makes the game less interactive, which is never a good thing. It's nowhere near, like, here's the thing, right? We're complaining about this. At least it's not like invisible Screamer Death Stars from 7th edition, or Death Skull Ludas nonsense. Yeah, that's the thing. Uppy downy, when it's, on a huge amount of units, it just gets really unfun. Nothing happens, and they just crush you on points. Unless you're a Horde army, in which case their army rule is almost useless. But whatever. There's always going to be rules like that. Sometimes it's, uppy downy, other times it's invisible. Back when spells used to be universal instead of army specific. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just a feels bad kind of thing. Because maybe it's just the way I play. I tend to like big, bombastic games. Yeah, I agree with the Warp Talons take. I think it's, I could definitely see it. I think that it's probably going to be a similar sort of cycle we saw to 8th and then 9th, where 8th was pretty rough around the edges, 9th smoothed a lot of that out. I could see Psychic or Prayers coming back in 11th edition. I definitely don't think that's out of the question. Speaking of, we're almost to the reveal time. No, I don't care. But yeah, I could see stuff like that coming back, or even if it just becomes, army rules, whatever it may be. Because, I don't mind the idea of the psychic phase going away, but I think it should work like Age of Sigmar, where psychic powers still exist, but they're used in specific phases instead of just being its own phase. Because the thing with the psychic phase is it's pretty much either completely non-existent or pretty pointless and niche for everyone else. So I wouldn't mind them going to an Age of Sigmar style of priests and unpsychers, chaplains, whatever it may be. But yeah, as Baldor said, it's just a feels bad rule. Something it's hard to play against. It's very uninteractive, very slow, very sluggish. So we don't like that. We don't like to see that. That's always sad. So this should be starting any second now. Let me make sure this isn't muted, but I'll keep the volume low just so it doesn't blast out our eardrums, hopefully. Yeah, no, Age of Sigmar is really fun. I was someone who pretty much overlooked Fantasy and Sigmar, but once I got into Sigmar, it's really fun. Anyways. I've been there. I've been to Nottingham. Been to many places, but yes, I've been to Warhammer World. Really cool place. If you ever get the chance, make sure to go there. So what is that? Sigmar, Kill Team 40k, Old World. There's no heresy. Well, I wouldn't even be surprised if they just cut that from it, and in each spell, they listed where it could be used. Again, like in Sigmar, for example, the Silver Tower that the Gaunt Summoners can use is in your movement phase. Do this spell. Who's this guy? I don't recognize him. Something to do with chat. Chat in these can get pretty toxic, so I'm just going to keep that closed. I don't want to. You know. But yeah, no. I could see maybe a psychic or power phase, or just having them be done in the phases where they make sense. All right, fellas, let's get into the big dogs. Come on. We're holding out hope. Nid's kill team, maybe assault terminators. That. Okay, there was some world eaters there at the very least. I don't think that was. I mean. Okay, we're starting with old world. I'm fine with that. I don't play old world, but I kind of want to. But at the same time, you know, I want to play Middle Earth strategy battle game before I play old world. So I can't say I'm super familiar with the Wood Elves model range, but I always like seeing models come back. It just makes sense. You know, I always like seeing models make their comeback, whether it's made to order or official returns. These are pretty sharp models. The Wood Elves look pretty darn good, I'd say. Actually, yeah, that's probably what that was. At the end, at the silhouettes, probably an 8-bound character. Probably. Water check, everybody. Yeah, that's some sharp-looking artwork. That is some sharp-looking artwork. Granted. Wow. I know Old World had good models, but I've never seen the Wood Elves extensively. It's a good-looking model. 100%. Dogs look a little off, but... You'll be able to field units of deepwood hounds, forest cats, sylvan boars, and even a bear of Lauren. So you can have a bear running posture check. You know, I actually keep my posture is pretty good, even if it doesn't look it, because of the way the camera's set up. But make sure we're not doing anything too bad. Make sure your chair's locked in the upright position. We're not doing any of this nonsense. Return of Beasts of Chaos. That is a crazy-looking Minotaur giant, whatever that may be. That is a crazy looking model. I can't get over that. Very cool. It's a pretty cool looking Psyker, I'd say. Pretty cool. I like his little gremlin. I always like little gremlins that come with Psykers. Who doesn't? You know, little familiars, little gremlins. Come on, focus, camera. What are you focusing on? Who knows? This is such a cheap camera. If I do streaming more, I'll have to get a better camera, because this thing is garbage. Little $10 Walmart camera. I like this little guy. I like him. This sharp-looking shaman or wizard, whatever it may be. Excuse me. And of course, we've got the Arcane Journal for the Beastmen Greyherds. Again, big book full of lore, yeah. It is interesting seeing these Arcane Journals come back, because they're softback, which is what codexes used to be. Heroes in there, magic, a Hearthstone for your fort as well. Look, your basement van, that's great. Now, Alex, people kind of knew that the Beastmen right away, because they were the last two forces that were going to happen. Speaking of, look at this. Old Imperial Guard Codex, all softback. This was $33. This was $33 when it came out in like 2006. Really great artwork in here, though. I love old codexes. I want to collect more of them for sure. For sure. Is this a trailer for a new starter set or something? Under the watch of my father, Sen Yang, the Celestial Dragon Emperor. Oh, this is. Yeah, we getting Cathay? I knew that leak was complete nonsense when it came out. These guys were in Total War. I'm not the biggest Total War fan. It's not the kind of RTS I like. But I've seen these guys, and they look awesome. So if they're getting models, wow. I'm down with that. I'm super down with that. Super down with that. I mean, if these models look this good, maybe I will start Old World sooner than I thought. This is a pretty unique aesthetic. We don't really have... Like, we have the White Scars, who are, you know, vaguely Mongol-themed. But, like, a proper Chinese-themed army is not something we really have in 40k and Sigmar, or well, we have them in Old World, but I'm so down with that. 100%. 100%. This is quite an elaborate lead-up. Yeah, Grand Cathay. I knew that leak was just... They were so wrong, it's funny. Grand Cathay. Gotten their full month. What the... Those models looked insane. Did you see those giant, like, terracotta soldiers?
What a video. What a range.
What the... I need that in... now. Look at those things. That's awesome. Wow. I mean, I didn't... Ew. Pure cinema. Pure cinema. What can I say? So do I. I don't play it. Maybe I need to do a getting into Old World series once these models come out, because oh my god, they look good. And they're elite. I tend to prefer elite armies, except for orcs. So.
Troops, cavalry, war engines, terrifying monsters.
I mean, those giant terracotta soldiers are so cool. What? I like their artillery pieces too, like the Hwacha. It's not really a Hwacha, but I think that's kind of what they got the inspiration from over here. Basic foot troopers look awesome. I like the color scheme too. I probably would. Obviously, I always like to make up my own color schemes, but wow. Wow, I mean, these models are just so awesome. Really, really awesome. I think this is going to be pretty hard for them to... someone in my group chat just said I will start playing Old World. Yeah, no, this... I mean, it's going to be tough for anything to beat this model reveal. And this is crazy because, like, I didn't consider myself that interested in Old World, but I didn't expect them to come out swinging with a faction looking this awesome. I like that drummer on the horse. I'm pointing, I should use my mouse. That with the double drum setup, that's sick. Look at that spear. Yeah, I do wonder what they used for that green. We'll have to wait for a tutorial to come out for that paint scheme, but it's a clean-looking jade, for sure. Oh, I guess I have to get the rules for Old World. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a mean-looking artillery piece. Giant cannon, always great. I like these ogres. I think they're ogres. They're looking beefy. I do like big brawlic units. So notice this guy's got his blindfold on. He's cool. He's cool mode. Fire rain rocket battery. It's giving me Hwacha vibes. You know that ancient Chinese weapon that would fire off like hundreds of fireworks or like charged arrows of a similar, not charged, but like rocket propelled arrows. I mean, yeah, this again another killer look. It's interesting. They're using a different sort of color scheme with this red and blue. I don't know if that's just like the unarmored color scheme, but also looks good.
Does such devastating damage, has thunderous impact on its shots, slowing down enemy units nearby.
Yeah. Look at the detail on these dragon heads. I mean, that's crazy. That's just crazy. I'd want to run a lot of these fire rains. I don't even know what they do, but like the idea is just really cool.
The bamboo rocket who's smoking a pipe right next to the rocket. What a hero! What a hero! Love this stuff. But that's the models that we've seen in the battalion.
Yeah, maybe.
We've also got some other stuff as well.
I didn't even mention the flying machines. This is such a ridiculously awesome design. He's got an abacus on board where it's peak. Wow. I mean, this is what some of those models where I'm like, do I even have could I get this effect across properly? I think you could probably, if you're, not some heavy metal, you could probably use dry brushing to get that paper looking pretty good. Yeah, it's giving some, what are they called in Sigmar? These guys are cooler. I'm just going to admit it. These look cooler than the blimps the dwarves use in Sigmar.
It's a huge, rare, heavy chariot basically on a new base size, which is quite cool.
New base size?
You can equip the gunners on board with an array of gunpowder weapons and bombs, including the actual lantern itself has those huge sky lantern bombs underneath it, which are absolutely devastating.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good model release. Like, I need to see those terracotta soldiers. Bring them on. Wow. I mean, that makes sense. So these the details aren't free-handed. These are transfers. If you couldn't hear. Come on. Yeah. Look at the size of this thing, Alex. Tell me more. Dude, I need to get this and turn it into like an avatar of Cain or something. Dude, these things look insane. Like, actually crazy good like models. I think I like it in the jade sort of color scheme a little more than the terracotta. Calling it terracotta, Yeah, I mean, depending how big it is, maybe I'd base it up, use it as a Wraith Knight or something, or an Imperial Knight. So they are different. Like I don't know anything rules wise, but these are, you can have terracotta, jade, or granite. I mean, for D&D, this would be a great, big enemy boss. Big enemy boss guy. I mean, that's a pretty sharp looking dragon. That's what those claws were in the silhouette intro. That's pretty nice. I didn't expect to go into this and come out an old world fan. I'm certain this is gonna, sell like hotcakes. So it'd be a while before I could get it, but. Yes, this is old world propaganda. And it's working. You are not immune to propaganda. The picture of Garfield, you're not immune to propaganda. No. So this is another color scheme for the armored Jade Warriors. I like the other color scheme more, but I still think this looks super sharp. I love giant banners, so obviously I like that. Isn't that right, Baldore? Isn't that right? I was like, yeah, what else, Beastmen? I'm glad to see models coming back from extinction, but army of giant terracotta soldiers. That may have to be a project.
Might not know, such as the Dragon Emperor who shared gunpowder with the Sky Titans, and a long and storied
That's really good looking artwork too.
until events that we will not
That's true. We need more back banners. I'm glad. What's his face? Azrael still has his. Sternguard have them. Pedro Cantor, when he gets an update, better have him. Because I'm praying for the day we get a Pedro Cantor update. Love Pedro. He's such a cool model and unit and character. Yeah, I mean, what a great reveal. It really came out swinging, right? Because this is a whole new army. How can you follow this up? I'm sure that like these kits, like you say there, Sam, would be great for extra bits for your White Scars. Yeah, you can feel the pain in his wallet. You can feel the pain in my. It's crying. It doesn't have eyes, but it's crying. Oh, I forgot. Dude, I need to get this painted up gold. Get a miniature of Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Dragon Fist, peak. Yeah, I imagine that like we're just gonna see like the character for World Eaters, stuff like that. New kill teams, but like they already like this. There's nothing they can reveal that would be Cathay. Yeah, red and cold. And that's the human form of that dragon.
It's important to say as well, that model we've just seen, the dragon, Mao Ying here, and all the models we've seen in this entire range are all plastic.
Everything's plastic too. Cannons, terracotta soldiers, they're all plastic. No resin.
Mao Ying is a powerful wizard. She can transform herself from a dragon to a human whenever she wants to.
It's a good looking model too. I wonder if the dragon and her human form will come in the same kit, or if they'll be separate. I hope they come in the same kit.
That whole collection is just incredible.
That is Is that the best dragon they've done? It's hard to top Smog, right? That's like a crazy model, but yeah, you can't. No, even a dragon is a tactical rock.
Stuff. We've got a bit of time now to go over to question corner. Ed, what's the chat talking about at the moment?
Well, first off, I would like to shout out a few of the locations people talked about earlier. We've got people from all over the UK, loads of states being listed across US and Canada, Paris.
So is this an? I don't think I missed any reveal shows. Is this a new segment? Question quarters.
That I've got to though. How much of the release is in resin? So is a big one.
Well, everything we've just seen is plastic.
Everything in plastic.
That's it. If there's other models coming in the future,
I was worried the cannons might be resin, but
no. But everything we've just seen is entirely plastic. Multi-part miniatures.
Plastic. Beloved plastic.
How cool is that, right?
The detail on that is crazy. I almost thought for certain some of it would be resin, but
Models, the biggest models in Old World.
I don't know.
There might be. The Sky Lantern is huge.
Yeah, the Sky Lantern stands really cool.
That's on a brand new base as well, and then on a flying stand, and then that balloon on top of it. So at least
I mean, transporting those balloons would be tough. But if I'm going to be real, if I start a Cathay army, it's probably going to be a bunch of terracotta soldiers before the balloons, even though the balloons are sick.
Okay, final question then. Who are Cathay's biggest rivals in Old World?
Who do they have beef with? I have no idea.
Arguably, they're amongst the oldest and most powerful kingdoms in the Old World.
But they particularly hate, of course, chaos.
Oh, they absolutely loathe chaos.
Everyone hates chaos. That's not
If you want to
special.
if there was a rival, if there was someone that stood up anywhere near as close as that, it would be Warriors of Chaos.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Alright, cool. Anything else, Ed? Any more in the chat for now?
Lots of questions I think might get answered later on as we go on.
Fair enough. In that case, we'll move on.
Okay, so that was
of our show, and it's time to move on from the old world and take a look at what's going on.
kill team time. Agreed. We getting a Mechanicus kill team? I think I saw Mechanicus in the silhouettes. I think it is Admech. Those were servitors we just saw. Admech versus Tyranids. Looks like Tyranids are getting an upgrade sprue. Oh, that was something new.
Here we go. Kill Team Typhon is the next release.
Admech versus Nids.
And it's
Admech's
exciting.
definitely needed one.
A big
What on earth is that thing?
miniatures and the much
New Raveners.
specific kill team is here.
New Raveners?
Of the Raveners.
Yeah,
first of
Raveners.
all, before we go any further, very quickly, Alex, where is Typhon set and who are the backers?
So we are still on
What
Marcus,
on
where
earth?
facilities
Look at
are
those
fired,
things.
And when it does fire the backdraft, it sort of levels everything around it. And one of
Some
the
new
things
server.
sometimes
Oh,
happens
that's a
is
cool
that
looking
the
tech
single
priest right there.
And when they do,
That's Daedalus's model, the guy from Blackstone Fortress.
So what happens is the Adept Mechanicus send out these teams of sacrificial servitors.
These Raveners look crazy.
Hidden down there. But when they've done so, they've awoken some ravenous.
Oh dear, you don't want to wake Raveners. It's the worst thing to do. Because in this box we have the new Raveners kill team. 5 miniatures in the Ravenous kill team. You'll also notice here are some Hormagates in the back.
I think the Raveners will have, like, you can bring some
The
Termagants.
Ravenous kill team is 5 models, and you can make.
That's an upgrade. You used to get 3 Raveners, right?
Ravener warriors if you wanted to, as you see in 40k. You can also make it prime, as much as other things we're going to go over in a second. Alex, Raveners are powerful and terrifying, right?
Indeed, they're powerful.
Wow, these look crazy. Raveners, I didn't even think, but they did need an update for sure.
Deposited on a planet, they burrow through rock, wheat, armor, flesh, all with the same level of ease, and they can basically hold out for years, if not decades. That seems to be what's happened here on Vulcus. As you mentioned, these can be built into...
Yeah, baby! Yeah, no, this is a good reveal too. New Raveners, new Admech models.
The Venom Spitter that, as you can probably guess, spits venom.
Makes sense, yeah.
The Wrecker, which is a heavily muscled armored version, which can...
Oh, look at that guy. I like him. I need him. Many him. Ooh, I like that. That reminds me of, like, Sauron almost.
Space Marine 2, you'll come across the Raveners in there, and they burrow through the ground.
Thermoscythe, Prime, Fell Talon.
As well, they actually have a rule where you
I'm actually not the highest on the Prime's head, but, I mean,
your Raveners can
I'm fine with that. I'd just give it
pop out of that
a
tunnel.
warrior head, probably.
Really confusing your foes.
Look at, I like the Wrecker. I like him.
These guys have an APL of 3 apiece. That makes
APL
them
3?
super good, and they can all fight twice in an activation, which is terrifying. Yeah, absolutely monstrous foes. Only I think 5 models is one of the smallest kill teams, but they are tough. They're real big and tough. Lots of wounds, lots of APL.
These guys are
Maybe
really...
not quite as terrifying, but pretty cool as well.
I do like the Venom Spitter too.
Coming alongside them in the box set. These are an Adeptus Mechanicus.
So we're getting like a servitor kill team.
Said, I'd give my soul for an Adeptus Mechanicus kill team. We're going to send Slanesh knocking on the door anytime soon. Alex, tell us about...
I like the look of these. We needed new servitors for a long time.
Alongside them, they've got the servitor underseers, that guy that seems to be floating there. Basically, these guys...
I like that guy. I like the floating Admech guy.
Translating the mission into complex subroutines suitable for their charges, but they can be a bit enthusiastic about the acquisition of more servitors. So if you do happen to have one of these guys float by, be careful they don't steal them. So alongside them, you've got a whole host of various servitors.
I like the guns. I like this.
And even techno-medics, which is a rare willingness to give the fleshy parts of servitors, because you are on a mission far from the forge. You know, sometimes
needs must, right? Absolutely.
I like that guy.
Quite cool on tabletop.
This guy here with that helmet. That's so cool.
Network where they can transfer power from one server to another. One maybe shuts down and transferring his APL over to another.
I love heavy bolters. They're so cool.
Different services have different rules. We've got the breacher services. You can knock holes through walls. And the gun services and combat services carry a huge array of exotic weaponry, including a heavy arc rifle, incendiary...
I like the stubbers too.
Which all sound terrifying. Great fun. Now, coming alongside those 2 kill teams in the box is the dossier, of course, which is where you would find the full rules for both the kill teams, but also has really loads of extra stuff in there as well.
Dude, that servitor's in for a bad day.
Inside the dossier, you'll find the Joint Ops and Adversary Ops mission packs in here as well. The Joint Ops is really good fun. That's where the Hormagants and the Rippers that you get in the box that come into play as well, because there is a tree campaign playing through...
Oh, so these guys are for the co-op PvE mode.
And the Hormagants are your NPO, non-player operatives, that you get in there.
I recognize this color scheme. Can't recall the name of the High Fleet.
But also in the box, people have noticed, we showed off on Warhammer Community a little while ago, the Tyranid Infestation Terrain.
I like that terrain too.
Tell me what we've got here.
So you get spore chimneys, capillary towers, gestation sacks, shards, spewer
It's
guards,
definitely not a new Hive fleet, but it is a modern way of painting an older one. I've seen it because I was thinking of doing a series on Hive fleets.
conduits, so when a hive fleet arrives,
It's a cool color scheme.
get all the biomatter up from, and gestation sacks, you can probably guess.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's such great terrain.
That is really
and
good
a really
terrain.
Nice way of really adding a lot of flavour to your kills.
Let me see if I can't.
And
I'll look that up on the other
instead
screen.
of light cover or heavy cover as you might expect, but actually in the joint op missions, they're also used as objective markers for you to investigate or destroy, or spawn points for Tyranid reinforcements to come out of, which is terrifying as well. It's just a beautiful set of terrain, and it's really nice to see some sort of classic Tyranid terrain from yesteryear made into a plastic set for your
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Tyranid players all over the place.
These are pretty similar to the ones we saw in, well,
So there we
that
go.
were
That's
released in
Kill
like
Team
3rd
Tactics
editions.
Very soon. Got a little bit of time for some questions again from the chat. Ed, anything else we want to fire our way?
Well, obviously, the big one is for both kill teams, are we going to see rules for
This is Hive Fleet Typhon.
So right now, of course, we do have rules for Raveners in the Tyranid Codex already, which you can use these models to represent. Are we going to see full rules for both kill teams in their entirety? Well,
Hive Fleet Typhon
yeah,
is that one.
There are on one community, and there may well be more news coming on those soon. Yeah, watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get a lot of Tyranids in Combat Patrol, so
Yeah,
I have plenty to paint up.
In the Imperial Knights Codex and Chaos Knights Codex, just keep watching. So when we get to 40k, we'll cover those.
Well, I guess we know who we're coming for 40k.
This partly Hive Fleet Typhon offensive in the law.
Oh, yeah, there they go. Hive Fleet Typhon.
So as I mentioned before, basically the Raveners can be deposited on a planet well ahead of the Hive Fleet and can stay there for years, if not decades. So it could be a precursor to an invasion, but it also might have been, a little option.
I think that's, yeah, no, that makes sense. Adds in some visual interest on the boxes and everything. And also, let's be real, Hive Fleet Typhon looks cooler than Hive Fleet Leviathan.
Raveners for quite some time. In terms of build options, are we able to see just a full unit of normal Raveners with an ability to build multiple of each one? Basically, what we're going to do like it.
So basically, the kit you can build, you could build all 5 Raveners as a Ravener Warrior, which is the essentially the Ravener.
That's what I like to hear.
In the sort of Ravener squad in the Warhammer 40,000 game. There's also full rules for Ravener Warriors in Kill Team 2, so if you wanted to build 5 Ravener Warriors, you could use that as your kill team, no problems at all. As for the other options, you get enough bits to build 1 of each, so 1 Prime.
Yeah,
one
out of the 3, like,
one of each of the other ones you can build there as well.
because what are the main Hive Fleets? It's Behemoth.
In that case, it's time to move on now. What we got next?
Behemoth, Kraken, and Leviathan. I think Behemoth's the coolest out of the big 3.
Battles in Shaiish, the realm of death, the new Warhammer Age of Sigmar Spearhead gaming.
Spearhead's really fun. It's a great way to get into Sigmar. Like, it is, I love it. Age of Sigmar is just really fun.
Lead your forces to victory in fun, fast-paced games using streamlined rules. Each Spearhead box contains all the miniatures you need to take command of a balanced and thematic army, with rules and updates available to download for free online.
Yeah, man, can't beat the classic Behemoth. Though I'm pretty partial to Jormungandr, the yellow and black.
Or shred them with cold-blooded savagery.
I do love sword.
Yours with 4 new spearheads. March forth into the realm of death and prepare for battle with spearhead, sand, and bone.
I like Spearhead, so always glad to see more of
Very
this.
exciting. So this is Spearhead Sand and Bone. This is basically the new expansion for Spearhead with a whole load of new and exciting additions. You find 2 areas of the realm of death. Double death!
You love this, don't you?
Yes, so you've got Ossia and Delorum.
Yeah, man, Jormungandr's a great look.
That board.
Black and yellow, you can't beat it.
New set of scenery. Now, I notice here we've got the Necropolis, Blood, Delusion, Grief, and Night, the 5 Mortarchs that we know of, and they basically reflect sites of ancient power.
I want to see those Spearheads, because I saw Osiarchs,
No, you're right. It's a nice little
and I'm
variation from the
in a
front.
weird place with Osiarchs, where I don't like most of their models, except for the big winged, like 6-armed skeletons. I think those look cool. Hive Fleet Hydra. I can't recall that one off the top of my head.
But 2 of them are super close in the centre of the board. There's going to be a big old scrap there as well.
Oh yeah, Hydra looks great, 100%.
Want you to get into the action
The bluish purple.
It's great.
It's always a good look.
And you also notice on the screen as well, we've got some new terrain features here as well. This is the new mystical terrain that's being added in, which can either be set up on the board at the start of the game, or maybe brought in through one of the twists in the game as well. We've got the Crypt of Blood.
I wish Combat Patrol would get something like this.
And try and best
Maybe next
try
edition.
and best their foes at combat, but at what cost? And the icon of New Lamia, which is the statue there, which you can sort of call upon the veiled promises of the icon, and maybe bit of a big risk level. So we'll have to see quick call options in here as well as new updated battle tactics and commands and this and everything to really make you feel like you're playing in the realm of death. So it's a very different experience to spit right now.
Is this all we're getting for Sigmar? That can't be right.
But alongside this box set, we've also got some new spearheads coming as well.
So the first one we're going to have a look at is the Ogre Moortribe Scrap Glut. Basically, you're going to have your
Not the biggest ogre fan,
not blast round,
but this seems like a
8
pretty solid spearhead, I'll admit.
absolute punish, don't they?
They really do. They really do. They're terrifying. Don't get anywhere near them. But yeah, a really hitty spearhead, that one there. We've also got the Seraphon Sunblood Prowlers as well. The Seraphon fans for these guys.
Indeed, so these basically have their
This one I don't like.
they're able to scoop
It's not that it's a bad spearhead, but the old one was cooler with the big Saurus.
all led by that Sunblood.
Not big Saurus, what's it called? Carnosaurus?
The Hunter's Ranch should definitely go nipping around grabbing your battle tactics.
I like the pterodactyls, but yeah, no, not the biggest fan of this one.
Just shoot people off the table with all your guns and your crossbows.
They're a mobile gunnery brigade.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest stage of Cities of Sigmar fan. But it looks fine. They remind me a lot of Age of Empires, which isn't my favorite RTS, but I know I've said that about every RTS I've mentioned, but what can I say? I'm more of a Dawn of War kind of guy.
It's just 9 models, but what 9 models they are.
Yeah, no, I like these guys up front with the wings. I like them. I wish it was 6 of them. Rest, I just don't like. I don't like OCR Bone Reapers.
Yeah, there's not a model there that hasn't got at least health 4, and most of them have a 3+ save as well, so these guys are tough. There's not many of them, so good luck trying to score your battle tactics with those guys, because you're going to have to really think about how you do it. As a tactician, you might have to with the OCR Bone Reapers.
Now that's not all there is for the Age of Sigmar. We've got the Scourge of Skyrath. Now this is an exciting new seasonal event building up to the launch of the General's Handbook in summer. Now on the run-up to that release,
Looks like it's mainly just like rules and event stuff for Sigmar, which is fine.
Rules updates. These could be regiments of renown, battle formations, enhancement, but every faction is getting at least one updated war scroll card for an existing unit.
That's right, and they're going to be match play legal from the release of the new General's Handbook, which is going to be the after the Scourge.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm
General's Handbook arrived. It's that time of year. Here it is, and the difference here with the General's Handbook this time round is rather than just being a book, it's actually a complete box inside, which is your 72-page book. You've got your battle plan.
yeah, there's probably going to be some reveals. I'm trying to think. What factions don't we have? I mean, there's a lot of factions that don't have their updates yet, but if I would want to see something, maybe Kin of Nurgle. I like that army.
Gyran is sometimes considered sort of a place of abundance with Hammerhawk Gyra, the breadbasket of Sigmar's domain. However, the realm of life is
I do like that they're doing updated war scrolls. I think that's just always a good idea to keep the game fresh and like interesting. Similar thing that they do with the new detachments every 3 months in 40k. I wonder if they're. I wonder how big the 40k reveal is going to be because it's the last one.
Go back to the Warhammer Community website. In the future, there'll be some hints here and there and some build-up over the Scourge of Guards to find out what's in the General's Handbook. Keep your eyes on the Warhammer Community website. Definitely sign up to that newsletter as well.
Lumineth Realm Lords. I love that model. The I can't remember the name of it, but
What are folks saying out there in the world of Chatland?
Okay, I've combined a couple into one here, which is Fire and Jade still going to be supported, and will old spearhead boxes still be outplayed?
100% yes to both. So Fire and Jade is absolutely going to still be available. You can download the rules for free on Warhammer Community already. You can get the rules in the old.
yeah, we saw the Death Guard Lord of Poxes. We saw what looked like an 8-bound character for World Eaters. Thousand Suns though still up in the air.
More ways to play Spearhead, which is great.
Got another great question. One of our viewers has noticed that the Seraphon are led by a unit rather than a single character. How
Okay, so yes, you're right. Some of the
Yeah, more characters for all.
being led by units. We saw it first with Bloom Spike Gitz, where being led by that Snarl boss on his on the Snarl Fang. And we've also now got the Sunblood pack leading the Seraphon, and the Man Trappers leading the Ogres as well. Some of them work in a different way. So the Ogres sort of is a hunter with a few tokens around him. With a little model of tokens and things to put down. Whereas the Sunblood pack, the Saurus, are actually 3 different models. Now,
I love Seraphon. They're such a cool model range.
Together they make up a 9 health unit, but they're still pretty tough, that's how they work. It's actually really nice to see. I'm a big Warhammer Underlords fan, and it's really nice to see some of the Warhammer Underlords warbands being brought out.
Underworlds has great models, so it's always good to see them find second life.
Cool. Okay. Anything else?
We've got a lot of 40k questions still coming through.
Oh well, man.
Oh, they already mentioned Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights.
There's more stuff coming in the future for Warhammer Underlords now, so let's take a look ahead at what's coming in the future.
So, coming now, we've got the Soul-Blight Grey Lords, followed on by that Spearhead expansion, Sand and Bone.
Not a big Soul Blight fan, but
Taking a look a bit further forward into the future, we have the Ideneth Deacon and Nighthorns are going to be up very soon with the Blades of Khorne and the Caldron Overlords floating our way as well.
And then looking further into the future,
they just said like there's a lot of questions about Imperial and Chaos Knights, so but just keep watching. So I presume they're going to show something for them.
If you've got an idea of what that could be, let us know in the chat. We'll see what you think.
And it's got to. Well, no, I don't know.
Good one, actually. That could be, I've got at least 2 in my mind it could definitely be. Right, with that done, it's time to take a move forwards into the 41st
40k time.
thing to show you for Warhammer 40,000. Let's start off then with the chapter approved deck. It's that season. We've seen the
New objectives.
time for the chapter approved deck 2025 to 2026.
Awesome artwork.
This season, we're going to see this new deck, which functionally
That objective set's a new thing, isn't it?
but with updates to missions, objectives, and formatting. So, it's going to be really good.
Yeah, no Flesh Eater Quartz. I thought they already got their release though, didn't they? I guess I'm out of it. Whoa, that's a crazy looking deployment. More of that, please.
For smaller games, for example, it's a rule of 2 for 1,000-point games with up to 4 battle lines instead.
Did you hear that? 1,000-point games are changing it to rule of 2.
As well, another new format which we've introduced for the chapter approved deck, where attacker and defender have different deployment zones.
I like the idea of asymmetric war.
Within the game, so it's a much more unpredictable experience.
Have more variety in deployment zones.
Above. Instead of secret missions this time round, we've got challenger cards in the chapter approved deck. A challenger is a player trading by at least 6 victory points who can choose a challenger card or draw one. And these new cards provide a stratagem and a mission. Players can choose to complete the mission or use the stratagem, but not both. So it's similar mechanic to Spearhead if you guys have played that before. So nice little way of getting that player back into the game. And crucially here, this deck is designed to have lots of different ways to play 40,000 match play to give you real replayability.
I'm always up for new missions, new objectives, all that. I'm getting a little tired of Pariah Nexus.
You don't keep having repeat missions, which is really, really cool. So there we go, that's the chapter approved deck. Coming real soon. Make sure you get your hands on those one drops.
however, that's not all that's coming from Warhammer
That's so
40,000.
much coming.
We've also got the World Eaters.
Here we go.
World Eater's
They're
time.
coming with the Gorestorm Slaughterpack Battle Force, including a whole host of 8-bound
Oh.
jackals, as well as the Slaughterbound, that brand new hero.
That's a sick, pretty sick looking mini.
8 demons trapped within him is basically taken on a bloodthirst that's going to have exceptional strength. Along with them, they've got their brand new codex. And within that is obviously going to be all of your rules. of
Dead Custodies on the base.
with
Always good to see a dead custody.
bands of characters, as well as the Red Angel's Gate, where Angron first manifested on Armageddon.
You're absolutely right. We've got
I like that model.
Slaughterbound. This is the new hero who's going to be coming into play for the World Eaters. A monstrous hero who can lead 8-bound or exalted 8-bound into battle, and is so angry, Alex, that he rages at them and returns slain models to life. Which is
So angry you
terrifying.
can't die.
So you're absolutely right.
I like that's similar to the Possessed. They have an arm like this.
Including 5 new detachments. You can include Cornate demons in your army, much like the Emperor's Children. You can include Slaneshi demons in the army. And one of the detachments is the Khorne Demonkin, where you can use an enhancement to have a Lord on a Juggernaut leading Blood Crushers and Fleshhounds as a unit.
I'm glad to
Just
see
great
that.
Fun.
More Juggernaut support. If you didn't hear that, enhancement in one of the detachments lets your Lord on Juggernaut lead Blood Crushers.
Something to say, and it's over to Ed in Apology Corner.
Yeah, so Karanak should be in the Codex Demons Index. He's not and we know that everyone wants it, so have no fear, he will be back when the World Eaters Codex comes out, with both the map and also an updated index.
That makes sense. I don't think Karanak ever should have gotten the axe.
All you Corn Demon fans, our apologies, guys. We're going to fix that mistake when that book drops. So thanks for that patience on that one. But right, keeping on the Chaos theme, what else is coming?
Indeed, we're going to see the Death Guard.
I really like
Likewise,
Lord of Poxes. I think he looks really good.
Lord of Poxes, Plague Burst Crawler, Blightmore Terminators, Plague Marines, a whole host of disease-ridden bodies.
That's a good
along with the
box. That's a strike force. That's such a cool model. I'm not a big Death Guard fan, but that's such a cool model.
Yes, horrible that thing was back.
He's got the Buster sword going on.
Far away from see him at all. That gigantic sword on his back is a great plague blade.
That's what I like to see with Death Guard. He looks ominous and imposing.
It's great. Again, the Codex includes lots of detachments. You can have Nurgle demons.
They didn't say that's all for World Eaters, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's it.
And one that lets you have an unending horde of poxwalkers, just as you'd hope to see, which is cool. And you know what? Let's round off the unholy triumvirate of chaos. We've got 1,000.
Here comes Thousand Suns.
They've also got
Ooh,
flames,
yeah, Automata.
a bunch of sorcerers, Scarabacult Terminators, Rubric Marines, and you can see there at the front those Sector robots. So these are mechanical constructs with features of ancient prospering spirits or tutelary demonic servants. They're saturated in sorcerous power.
I think that's a pretty sick look. I mean, it's pretty different from normal Thousand Suns, but I kind of like it.
Threaded through with spells of prophecy, so you can essentially foresee tanks on their master, able to jump in the way of bullets or move them out of the way.
You're able to foresee where the enemy's going to be as well, which allows this unit to use the Overwatch strategy for free.
Yeah, I think they're more in line with
heavy warp flamers,
Thorax,
and melter guns. These things are terrifying.
Then
they actually count as vehicles as well, which is cool because one of the detachments
closer to Thorax than like Castellans.
take loads of vehicles, so you can have a robot heavy force if you want to. Break
I mean, they're small. They look about twice the size of a normal Space Marine.
At this point, and in the Crusade section, you can plot a scheme with the Great Cultivan Crusade as well. And talking of the codexes, we've seen already the Emperor's Children having an absolutely beautiful limited edition codex. And you know what? We're doing the same with the 3 others we're releasing as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about these. These do look really good.
These books, Alex, are absolutely incredible.
Oh yes, these are absolutely chock full of cool little bits of memorabilia, that limited edition codex. However, they look cool on screen.
They do.
But in person, physically, they're much better.
Right.
And Ed, you've managed to get your hands on them, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I'm going to say
Oh.
the studio was not occupied, so then I thought I'd nick them. So, we've got this beautiful slipcase.
It's such a cool thing. I like that they're doing this little thing with the different codexes.
We've got the codex itself with gilt-edged gold pages, some really nice artwork in each piece as well. So every book's going to come with 5 pieces of.
Hey man, that's the beauty of it. Maybe get some Thalax robots, use them to cut off their jump packs, give them rocket launchers.
And then we obviously have a large slipcase with gilt-edged data cards, stratagems. We've got our metal tokens for objective markers, and finally, with this really nice solid metal medallion that we can make, and they all magnetize together to form one large metal medallion. That is so weighty in hand. I feel like I want to use this as the objective marker instead of the smaller one somehow.
Can't help feeling that completing the quadrant there of the medallions live here in the studio is going to summon some sort of
I do
bloodthirster.
feel like I've got power coursing through me. Maybe it's the adrenaline.
Yeah, they definitely are on the spindly side.
These are absolutely stunning. There's going to be a very limited edition. There are going to be only 1,600 copies of each available when they go on release. So if you want one of those, or even all 4 of those, make sure you get one as soon as you possibly can. Because
Oh, I like that Magnus one.
they'll be selling like hotcakes. So there we go. That's the limited edition Chaos Codex is coming very soon. But I've had enough of talking about Chaos, Phil. We've got some other cool stuff coming. It's time to go a little bit Imperium, as the Grey Knights are seeing their update here too.
Oh.
What have we got here?
Indeed, so this is the Sanctic Conclave Battle Force, Grandmaster and Nemesis.
Those Grey Knights don't look.
Units of Brotherhood.
Yeah, those Grey Knights are not different. What's getting updated?
So they're also getting codex, chock full of all the background. The Grey Knights are basically super anti-demonic forces forces with their armor threaded through the psychoactive circuitry, and the Dreadnights in particular will need to combat the most
I think the Terminators are new. Maybe.
It is indeed. We've had the rules for a Grandmaster in a Dreadnought.
Oh, look at that.
for a while.
Giant
Now
mace.
We've actually got a full kit to represent the most heroic heroes of the game. In a Dreadnoughts ready to fight those red demons with weapon upgrades.
I did not realize until I pointed it
a
out.
Huge psychic melter and a Nemesis mace, which is what this thing has in common. Massive psychic blunt force trauma, which can destroy enemies. There's also a Nemesis flail.
I like the quad multi-meltas.
As well, which is coming here as well. So we've got new weapons of that guy, and a great new addition kit. It's basically like the Nemesis Dreadnought kit with an upgrade sprue in there as well to make it into a Grey Knight Grandmaster, which is just cool. In terms of the codex, Grey Knight players can expect to see rules like Gate of Infinity still there, slightly tweaked. We've got 5 detachments in there covering lots
Glad
of
to see they say
styles,
it got
including
tweaked.
the Sanctic Spearhead, which covers vehicles and walkers, so you can have an army of Dreadknights and Dreadnoughts if you want to, which is great. And in Crusade, you can stave off Chaos Incursions with the aid of vision sent to you by the Prognosticars, which is cool. I like the sound of that.
Now, speaking of Prognosticars,
Yeah.
The Grey Knights have foreseen an invasion of a world that has previously been invaded by the World Eaters.
Of course. This is the new Crusade book,
Ah,
Armageddon.
I love Crusade.
Armageddon is a war zone that will be familiar to many veteran Warhammer players.
Of course Armageddon's familiar.
Such a big deal. Well, it's been the site of many horrific invasions. Now, the world stands directly in the path of one of the Blood Crusades. It's splintered on all killed territories in Golgotha. However,
More Crusade, more fun rules is what we need.
the amount of blood that has been spilled has basically fed the Red Angels gate to Angron first emerged into Armageddon, and as such, the Conqueror has heeded the call and arrived. So the World Eaters have descended to Armageddon itself, but
Reading off of cue cards.
Death Corps, Blood and Space Wolves, High Marshal Colbert's Black Templars, and the Grey Knights who have foreseen this invasion.
This is so cool. What a great way to kick off a new war zone. And this actual book itself is a Crusade book. I've never played Crusade before. It's a wonderful.
It's the coolest way to play 40k.
Sense where your forces can get enhanced.
Love Crusade so much.
Get upgrades as you go along, and it's really cool way of playing 40k. If you've never played, I seriously recommend. We're playing at the moment, and it's great fun. You can either choose to defend Armageddon, to attack Armageddon, or perhaps be one of the third party there. Just not quite sure which side you're going to represent. Maybe your side later on. And there's a tree campaign inside the book for all those 3 factions as they sort of take the battle.
Love it. I just love I love Crusade, and I want to do a new Crusade, so we'll do that book.
In there. There's a focus on epic heroes, mighty deeds, fighting hellscapes as the barriers between warp and reality just merge. And what's really cool as well is there's rules for unbound demons blocking to your game as sort of non-player characters sort of running in and just taking both sides and just causing complete.
I like the sound of that. Random enemies appearing.
Which is just great. So yeah, seriously, Armageddon and Crusade coming very soon. Hey, do you know what? Armageddon does sound pretty cool. It sounds just cool.
Planet Armageddon.
They're giving us a trailer. I'm down with that. I'm down with that for sure.
An imperial linchpin plagued by invasion.
Yeah, Armageddon never catches a break.
Now the Blood God's followers swarm across the planet's ravaged surface.
Good old Angron.
On the brink of an
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It's real chaos.
for aid. Will anyone answer their call?
Oh yes, Space Wolves. We forgot. They were leaked. Not their models, but they were, of course. Ooh! New Wolf Priest. I love Wolf Priests. I'm not a big Space Wolf guy, but Wolf Priests, I love peace. I love Wolf Priests. You know what the World Eaters, not World Eaters, Thousand Sons Automata remind me of?
Must halt the
They remind me of Magna Guards from Star Wars. Also, that was an insane barrage of miniatures. Can we see the Space Wolves, please? I want to see that new Wolf Priest.
That was incredible, and
That Wolf Priest looked awesome.
a whole new raft of space wolves.
Oh, they're here. The Space Wolves are here. We've been waiting for it for a long time, and it's great to see.
I think the Wolf Guard were in there.
Range of miniatures coming your way for the Space Wolves. let's take a look because I mean, look at these.
Stunning.
It's just we've waited and waited, and here they are. This, in particular, what we're seeing right now is the Space Wolves Army launch set coming to you.
Is that a new like Wolf Lord character, or like just generic Wolf Lord? I'd hope so.
The new Head Takers, the Blood Claws, and the Grey Hunters. We're all getting new miniatures there. We'll talk about all.
Wow, Blood Claws and Grey Hunters is getting updated. I expected them to get the axe, honestly.
What a force! Let's have a look.
Wait, I saw Mark 7. Mark 7 helmet detected. Oh, peak! It's peak! It's peak!
Now,
Look at that Wolf Priest.
Aside from a random Games Day miniature some 20 years ago, this is the first time Games Workshop has done a Wolf Priest miniature, so it's great to see. And I'm right.
Yeah.
This is kind of mix between an apothecary and a chaplain.
Indeed.
That dude looks sick.
Observe the warring tribes of Fenris to sort of select potential
Right level of wolfiness, in my opinion.
They tend to the wounded, but they're also spiritual advisors preparing their brothers for mental and spiritual trials.
It's really nice. This mod's actually got quite a few options here as well. You've got head options, helmeted, bare heads as well. In game, you can restore wounds to units that you've joined, and also add one to melee wound rolls with lifting of hate. It's got rules from both the apothecarian and the chaplaincy as well, which is just.
I mean, yeah, that still looks great. Wolf Priests have always looked pretty good.
Battle leader might be my favorite model of the box.
Yeah, I mean, Wolfguard Battle Leader.
So cool. Again, lots of options here.
Like that big shield. Sword and board is always so awesome.
Who are the Wolfguard Battle Leaders?
So these guys are members of the Wolf Guard, and they're deputized into leading warriors on the battlefield. They're essentially the equivalent of Space Marine lieutenants. They're typically temporary positions, but you know, a war can last years, decades. So temporary is a odd.
I can imagine. I'm surprised. They said Grey Hunters and Blood Claws. They're getting updated. I expected them to just go gone.
So giving them experience in these leadership roles is invaluable.
You want these guys leading your units into combat, specifically your Wolfguard head takers.
Mark 7, Mark 7. I love Mark 7.
Which is the next thing we're going to have a look at here. Look at these. What a great update on an iconic Space Wolf unit. These guys are the sort of the newer Space Wolves, and loads of options all over the kit, including different heads.
First I thought this might be an upgrade, but that's not.
Marines as well, so they look like they're a bit newer. That suits their background, right?
Yeah, they're young and impetuous, and they need to prove themselves, temper themselves in battle.
No, these are new poses.
It's harsh and extensive, but battlefield experience is the most valuable, and so the Blood Claws are not discouraged.
And like these Mark 7s or like Mark 6s.
As Blood Claws have been in the
Also Lightning Claw. We haven't seen a Lightning Claw on a Primaris Marine in a long, like Kayvon I think was the last one.
Space Wolves infantry in Tacticus armor, they are movement 7. So they're faster than the Space Marines, but they're desperate to get into combat. They're cunning.
They're also using normal bolt pistols as opposed to heavies, so they're not just assault intercessors.
They can reroll all wounds, which is pretty cool. Just like the Grey Hunters, who are the other iconic Space Wolf unit, which we are seeing new models for here as well.
Grey Hunters, and they have regular bolters.
Loads of options for the pack leader. Lots of options all over.
Look at that Mark 7. Look at it. I love Mark 7.
The Grey Hunters, as they're more the veteran Marines, aren't they?
Yeah, so they've survived.
I like these bolters and bolt guns, whatever.
Mechanics Felix is really presenting a bit more apparently. So they've got grey hairs, fangs, rougher skin, all those like canine developments that we love with the Space Wolves. They're really closely bonded units that work in
I mean, these guys look really good.
stalwart and reliable.
Not as ridiculously wolfy as Space Wolves tend to be, but I think it's a little more tastefully done.
Absolutely cool. But these guys are great at everything. They have Astartes chainsword, so they can pack a punch in combat. Each Marine carries a bolt carbine, allowing them to fire up to 3 shots apiece. The pack leader can have a power pistol or a power weapon. But the big news here, as well as the fact that they can move 7 inches like the Blood Claws, is that this unit are OC3 apiece.
OC3?
Perfect for holding and capturing objectives.
It's pretty beefy.
They are absolutely core, and I hate to admit it, but they might be one of the best core battle line units in the Imperial forces. So yeah, get your hands on, or your claws on some of these.
I mean, I do a lot of Mark 7s on my
Next,
Primaris.
we've got the elites of the force, the head takers, and their hunting wolves.
So the head takers tend to be from those Wolfguard who still retain some of their youthful recklessness, and they specialise in hunting down enemy champions, beasts.
I mean, axe and board also looks cool. Very Skyrim.
And it's so strong that it's almost as if they act as one, like an instinctive coordination.
These are elite infantry, similar to Blade Guard veterans you might recognise from Space Marines. They have loads of options. There's 9 interchangeable head options in the kit for your bare helmeted or.
Looks like they get some dogs.
There's lots of bare heads in the Space Wolf kits, which is great because that really suits them. You can give these guys different weapon options. They can come with a mastercrafted power weapon and shield, or a pair of mastercrafted power weapons with 6 attacks apiece.
Return of dual lightning claws, or akimbo power weapons.
Which is quite interesting, so you can run them around separately. You were talking about the sort of going for the big monsters and the champions there. Before the game, you select one enemy unit to be your quarry, and they get devastating wounds and precision when targeting that quarry, and when they've killed it, they just select a new unit and a new quarry, which is terrifying. Of course, inside this box, we're also seeing the Space Wolves Codex supplement as well.
I'm not a big Space Wolves, like, I don't collect Space Wolves, but those Grey Hunters look pretty darn good.
Background on Space Wolves faction, the colour section with loads of cool shots of miniatures, armor rules, everything you expect from the Codex, of course. There are 3 detachments inside, each with their own theme and their own saga to complete. Complete your saga, get additional rules, which is really cool. And in Crusade, there are new Oathsworn campaigns, expanding on those in Space Marines Codex. So the Space Wolf theme saga to complete, earn deeds of making, exclusive battle traits, scars, agendas, everything else you expect from Crusade as well.
Indeed, my favourite little aspect of some of these codexes is the little asides, the little addendums that are added to it. And there's a quote from an Inquisitor here that I think really sums them up. They are deviants all, these Space Wolves, uncouth and lacking in honour, formal and without discipline. They respond with contempt to direct orders, scoff at Lord Guilliman's Codex Astartes, and treat the orders of Imperial commanders with contempt. And I think that sums them up.
Yeah,
Good old Space Wolves, huh? Space dogs.
You know who you guys are. Well, that's an incredible range of miniatures coming for the Space.
Yeah, I mean, that's
not all. There's going to be more coming as
I
well.
mean,
we just haven't shown you everything yet.
Redemptor Bjorn.
Characters, some more elite units coming too. But keep your acute senses fixed on Warhammer Community website, where you can get.
Can't wait to see the rest of it. I cannot wait.
Well, that's great news for Space Wolf. But that range refresh we've been looking for, and it's here. Congratulations, guys. But let's have a look now over to Question Corner. Ed, folks are going to be happy about the Space Wolves, right, surely?
They are indeed. There's lots of love for Space Wolves. Space Wolf related question though is, do you know if Thunderwolf Cavalry is still going to be across battle?
So we're not going to answer any questions about that right now, because the Warhammer Community website is going to give you more details about what's going to be included in the code that's coming forward. There's loads of articles coming about that, so just keep your eyes on what
makes sense. I mean,
all your questions will be answered right now on the website. And sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already.
Thunderwolf Cavalry get the axe. I could see it going either way.
Imperial Knights, obviously on the last roadmap, they appeared as one of the next codexes. Now obviously we've got Chaos coming at a similar time. When can we see Imperial Knights?
We will answer that momentarily.
Knights. Here come Knights.
Chaos Knights. Do you know if they're ever going to end up That's another question that's been asked since the beginning.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be real pedantic here, but in White Dwarf 509, they got 2 named characters in the combat patrol. So there we go. They already exist. As for other named characters in the future, I don't know. Again, keep your eyes on Warhammer. We haven't talked about it here. We can't mention it yet. Warhammer Community's got all the info.
So tied into that, again, the questions about release dates, limited codexes. Again, same thing. The answer to Warcom. Another question about them though is, are they all releasing the same time?
Ooh, that's a good question. The Iron Dwarf set's going to be released as itself, but then we'll see other stuff coming out later on as well. Dates and everything completely up to people other than us.
Yeah. I didn't think they would set release dates. That's too early.
We've got burning questions we want to answer, guys. We can't say everything quite yet. Keep your eyes on one.
A potential lore-based question. Obviously, we're coming back to Armageddon. Wouldn't be Armageddon without Old Man Garrett. Is he still around?
As we saw from the Astronomical Codex a while back, Yarrick is, as far as the Imperium is concerned, deceased.
We know Yarrick's not really gone.
Unfortunately, no.
Well, at least, it's pretty much hard no. Read the Codex Astronomical and
There was a body.
Sorry, guys. He's an old man no longer.
We know he's not really dead.
Maybe not the way you want to speak, I guess. Anything else there?
Yeah, again, this is
Maybe I'm in denial.
You know what? We would love to answer all those questions, guys. And as hobbyists ourselves, we totally understand, but we can't say everything right now. Just keep your eyes on what.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
In fact, should we take a look right now, a little look further ahead at what might be coming next for Warhammer 40,000?
I assume Knights are after.
Coming up first, we've got Thousand Suns. They're going to be marching in.
Thousand Suns up first.
Robots.
And then Space Wolves. Then World Leaders, then Death Guard.
Finally, the Death Guard is going to make a slow trot at the field.
Yeah.
Quite soon as well. It's saying right now on the screen, so they're becoming real.
I mean, I see these guys being fully out in the next 2.5 months.
Now, what's coming next? We've got the Black Templars, we've got the Grey Knights, the Chaos Knights, and Imperial Knights.
I like the flail.
Over the horizon as we speak.
And then a little bit further on, these are
Salamanders, Votan, Fists.
pretty sure I can guess at least 2 of these.
Yeah, me too, but they are definitely interesting. And in the far, far future, something's coming.
That's a Space Marine.
What could it be? Let us know in the chat what you think that could be.
Ultramarines? I think that's an Ultramarine piece of artwork.
I've got an idea.
Yeah, me too. So there we go. That's what's coming for the future for Warhammer 40,000. We've got just enough time for a couple more questions. Is there anything else that's burning people want to know?
Well, I suppose that wraps everything up.
About Warcry, they're at veteran edition. Obviously, we've still got a lot of Warcry models in itself at the moment. Have you got any updates on Warcry?
Nothing to report at the moment. Again, keep your eyes on one. It's going to be the same
Good
answer.
night, Kyle. It's been nice having you here.
For all updates, that sort of thing. Anything else?
Yeah, a used Thousand Suns Decanton related to Bash Door. I think we've got the Dark.
That, of course, is the dark mechanic of the Chaos Forces, right?
Yes.
Have you perhaps built them, maybe?
Well, I presume we're not seeing anything new here. Let's go check Warcom, get a better look at some of these models. Ooh, I like these new card backs. I like Asymmetric War. Challenger
There
Strand.
we go. Do you know what? That's been an absolutely brilliant show. We've seen some fantastic releases, some fantastic previews coming up. What we saw the Old World. We saw.
So it looks like these have some. These are the replacement for secret missions. So this is, you either have Force of Breach, which allows you to move through models and terrain, which could be interesting, or the mission, which is in your shooting phase.
Beautiful model. And me, I think I'm a Spearhead fan, so I'm really looking forward to
One
it.
unit is not within your deployment zone.
And I can't wait to see someone painting it.
So, I mean, this seems particularly easy, but it gives you 3 victory points, I suppose.
So much, guys, for joining us here on the
3D stratagem.
If you want to see any more
Hmm.
pictures and information,
This is your comeback mechanic, by the way.
the one into the website.
I like these objectives, so that's nice and beefy.
And check out more information. And also some of the
Let's look at some of.
information. You can sign up to our social media, which is again where you're
It's hard to say. Like, these guys win, right? The Jade Warriors look so good. Jade Lancers look great too. I like the Grand Canyon and the Rocket Battery. This character. Oh, this is a generic Lord. I mean, I like that. Your standard, less fancy characters. Oh, this model's just so awesome. Is it not? Is it not so awesome? All right, with them wrapping up, I have to go eat dinner, so I assume it's time for me to wrap up too. I've had a great time talking to y'all. I want to stream more often. Maybe I'll start doing streams every weekend or something. But that wraps up today, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.